Hi, welcome to another episode of Behind the Build. Okay, so apart from the practicality aspect of interior designing or problem solving for the clients, what do you think is the unique characteristic about Singapore's design? Like specifically, because say for example, for North Asian countries, they are known for its use of bamboos in architecture, but this is more in terms of the materiality aspect. And then for cultural aspect, you have like densities in Japan, Hong Kong, where they are always very small and how they overcome with design. So what do you think is so unique about Singapore's design in terms of say history or even culture as well?
Okay, so as we alluded to in the first part, right, that Singapore, when I came back in 1992, didn't really have a design culture locally. Most of the firms that were practicing in Singapore, whether it was Stephen Leach or Devonport or what, those big ID firms, were all so-called import, right? They come here because there are hotels to be done, there are office buildings to be done, and all that type of thing, and they provide their services. And some of us would have worked there and then started our own or whatever it is, right? Just like me, right? But interior design itself was not developed. It took many years of effort, and eventually the government also understanding that, interior design is different from architecture and that, it's its own field, and it needs some support. And that's why I think way back in early 2000s, Design Singapore Council was formed, to champion design. That's where you see Design Week and all this type of thing. A lot of design festivals. We are heritage city, things like that, right? And we've got a lot of accolades, and Singapore is now on the world map for design. But it wasn't so in the very early days, right? I was interviewed, I think after I came back in 92, I joined Society of Interior Designers. I became part of the industry, but of a professional society. I got to meet a lot of other people, and that's where we host a lot of activities. And I was asked, Raj, do Singaporeans appreciate design? And I said, well, yes. From the last 10, 15 years, I've actually seen it grow, and Singaporeans are more appreciative of good design, but not designers. They're appreciative of design when it's in their iPhone, where it's all design and it's on package. But if you tell me that, can we appreciate the designer who did this? They don't want to pay for the fees,
The budget.
all right? So the interior designer was not appreciated. The design was. And that's why, as part of the industry, through SIDS, we have actually now come to a stage where we can say we have successfully been running the accreditation program for the last 3.5 years, right? I mean, 4. It's still a struggle to get people to understand why accreditation is important, or even in terms of renewals, it's a struggle as well, right? Why should I renew? I'm not getting jobs from accreditation. But we have to tell people accreditation is an individual accolade. It's an individual achievement. When you tell people you are accredited under CDAT, you automatically set a certain standard for yourself. You are a certain bar, ID1, ID2, ID3. Minimum, you know what type of education or experience you have. ID3, ID2, ID1, you guys can go look at it on the website. And accreditation has helped, but then you need the buy-in from a lot of government agencies as well. In HDB, typically you have a licensed renovation contractor. I always question why we have a licensed renovation ID or license ID required to chop and sign some drawings to make sure that we are not taking away a structure, not hacking away a particular column, not touching a structural wall. I mean, we have that knowledge and we are trained, and we are taught in schools and through experience. Then there should be some support from some of the government bodies. We have approached developers, we have approached certain government agencies. It's getting better, but I think unique to Singapore, if it is not law, no need to do, no need to follow, right?
To keep the
So the ultimate goal, I suppose, eventually is to be legislated somehow, right?
I think somehow Peter and I we did speak about this on an earlier podcast. We mentioned above being so-called like being knowledgeable and all, accreditation with society, we keep each other in check. So we maintain our professionalism, right? If something goes wrong, we will have our seniors or our peers coming to us, hey, what's happening? You have to upkeep the professional ethic.
Yes.
Don't be a pariah, right? We keep each other in check. So sometimes this, I really call it shaming culture, spotlight each other, hey, make sure you're all doing well. It's the most effective way to do the right things.
But it's like bullies, right? I had an incident where my younger daughter, when she was in school, in secondary school especially, she got bullied, right? Oh, you're Indian, you're this, you're that, a lot of racial thing, you're fat, that a lot of stuff, right? Where she had a lot of support from her friends, her classmates, but then there were those that were really not. And then there was one incident where it really got to her, right? And then of course, the vice principal, who is the discipline master, also called us and says, okay, what do you want to do about this? Should we make a police report? Should we do this? Should we do that? We said, no, I don't believe shaming that person and naming that person and scolding that person in front of everybody is going to help the problem. Our faith, our, belief is it's okay. Just all we want is an apology, and it can be a private apology. Just apologize to my daughter and promise not to do it again, right? Because she has not done anything to you. So, please reciprocate and do that. So I think, surprisingly, that guy became protective of my daughter more so than anything else. He was still a bully. He was still bullying a lot of other people.
Someone else.
But somebody else. Because why? I did not insist that he get caned or punished or verbally, get his parents to come down or whatever it is and, mete out that type of punishment. So I think while shaming culture is there, explaining to people nicely behind closed doors, having a mediation meeting or whatever it is and saying, hey, this is not helping you. It's not helping us. Can you please stop it? Right? Why is it that you're doing certain things? Stop. So I think that should be better. Education is important, right? And as part of accreditation, I think one of the wonderful things that APSDA has recently done, I think 2 years ago, is they've also launched the regional accreditation program, APIDAP, right? Asia Pacific
Interior Designers Association.
Interior Design accreditation program, right? And I'm also one of that already. So that also means that if I'm accredited or licensed in Malaysia or Singapore or Thailand or whatever, and if I go and practice in another city, another country, and if they recognize their local legislation, they will also then recognize my accreditation or my qualification to allow me to do jobs if, let's say, there's a particular government job that requires. So if their teammates, their licensed people team up with our licensed people, it gives you a little bit more standing, right? Rather than totally nothing. Who is this person, right? And we're trying to do that. Regionally, still doable. Internationally, I don't think, it's a big challenge. But still, I think accreditation is only the first step. Eventually, legislation will have to come because that's when everybody will then accept the fact that interior design is also a profession, right? It's not a hobby. It's not something you do as a pastime. You can do design and build, but then still charge your fees for it, right?
Thank you for always fighting for us. I think you give us a lot of hope that we can travel regionally and do good work elsewhere. So thank you so much for that. Since 1992, right? Amazing. I was just born.
Yeah, we're trying, and again, you see, being part of the industry doesn't mean that you be selfish It's more of being selfless, right? People ask me, Raj, why do you spend so much time with SIT? Why do you spend so much time with this, and ups, with IFI? My own religious organizations or inter-religious organizations. Why do I spend so much time with all these things? I said, good thing, I will get dementia a little bit later.
Yeah.
Because I'm more active, right? I don't have to, I'm occupying myself. When I work, I'm occupied with work. When don't have so much work, I get busy with something else. All right. And it's always good to have a broader experience than to be pigeonholed into something very small, right? Joining SIDS, you get a lot of friends, a lot of fellow designers. They are all your competitors, but then they are also your collaborators and your compatriots, right? Sometimes you ask them, hey, what are type of issues you have doing residential work? They'll share with you. If I was by myself and only doing corporate, I only know what corporate designers have problems with. I won't know residential, but I know what residential go through, what F&B go through, what institution go through, what healthcares go through, right? All these people. So being part of a family is very important. Join SIDS as a social network, right? Become or get accredited because this is your professional standing now.
Right.
You already done your degree, your diploma, you've already worked, you got experience. Now this is your standing in the market, right? In the design industry. Get it done.
I think that's the beauty of the creative scene as well, is the idea of collaboration. Like you mentioned, it shouldn't be just us being in our own pigeonhole, but it's the beauty of how we can work with different creatives, like even if not say within our same industry, not say architects or fellow designers, we can even collaborate with fashion designers, product designers, or even
artists.
Yes,
a lot of times you have that. You have artists, you have fashion, you have all the entire design scene. Anybody can be your partner, right?
That's the beauty of it.
And it brings me back to Vietnam. When I was doing a lot of work there. My counterpart over there was a lighting supplier, but he was an engineer, and he would bring me to go visit a lot of clubs.
Right.
And they bring me to the Singapore club, and then the Taiwanese club, the Korean club, the Japanese club. And you know what was the difference among all of that?
Lighting.
No. All the clubs, the feeling of, whatever it is, right?
The chai.
So this is Singaporeans in Vietnam, Taiwanese in Vietnam, Koreans in Vietnam.
Oh.
When the other countries met, they always talk business. Hey, that building, I supplying wallpaper, they need carpet. You better go and contact that person. I need blinds. I need this. I need this. I need this. They will keep the business among their countrymen. Okay? You go to Singapore, soccer and food. And they keep it very close to their heart. Even if they have got a particular inroad to a particular project, they will not share. And that's where you lose. So the point about, I always tell people, you want to compete, you compete with others when you go outside. Everybody here is your collaborator. All your designer friends, your industry people are your collaborators. You form a strong understanding, a relationship that when you go overseas, you can work as a team. Because that's what other people are doing. But sadly, the experience was that, Singaporeans kept to themselves, only makan and soccer, football. And then after that, the project goes to other, the work goes to other people. Right? So this is something we have to learn, right? It's never about us by ourselves. Me first, we, us, and then when we go out, it's us. Singapore against other countries.
Why do you think these people have this feel of being a bit self-centered and want to gatekeep everything to themselves?
Well, I think it's how we have grown up to be very competitive in Singapore, right? And we have not been, what they will say is that, I eat as much as I can, the buffet syndrome.
Eat the
All right.
prawns.
Why should I share my buffet with other people? Right? But they don't understand that in a buffet, whatever food is not consumed gets thrown away.
Yes.
In the market, whatever scope that you didn't get or were not able to get goes to others. Right? Then why not give it to your brother from the same country? Right?
Right.
I think that mentality should change. But you see, like government always has this thing, let's go out on a junket, go out on a trade business mission. Singapore Business Federation will bring you here, bring you here. When you go, you're all as Singaporeans, but then you come back and you all individually contact them and do your own inroads. You don't stay as a team. We have a lot to learn. We are still a young, industry. We have a lot to learn. We should keep together.
To add a personal touch, we all started out like this. I've been a one-man show before, and I've had a team right now. So I always prefer to work in a team. It's mentally sane. And like you mentioned, a buffet, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, you spend 3-4 months and at one project trying to makan everything, then you forget, next month, where am I going to eat? Yeah, you see, it kind of creates this kind of toxic loops in your head.
Correct. So, I mean, like for me also, although I'm a one-man show, what I generally do is if the project is large enough, I bring people in, right? When we were doing the Malaysian High Commission project in Singapore, I brought Hendra and, people in as a team, right? Because he had a bit larger team. I did not. And we worked together on those projects. I was just going through name cards because I'm, shifting my office, right? So I was just going through name cards and I saw my name on at least 10 different companies.
Okay.
Right? Because I've done work with ORB. I've done work as a team, right? So you give the same name card lah. You don't give your own name card, right? So under ORB, under Sinosia, under Design Point, under Design Phase, under my own company, wherever I'm needed, we come in as part of the team player, and then they print the name card, and then you go out as a team, right? So I think that was quite nice of unique thing about being a one man show where you can afford to do that, right? I still do consulting for other people. I still do a little bit of project management for my fellow designers. I do still write BQs sometimes from time to time. So you leverage on your skill, and wherever you can earn a little bit of a living, yeah, okay,
So Raj, you are an adjunct educator as well, right?
No, I was hoping to be. But I am pro bono giving talks at Raffles Design. I used to do it at NAFA, once in a while Temasek, but mostly recently has been Raffles. Right? So they invite me in for talks on things that they don't teach, like how to interview. Right? There's a lot of things to learn about how to interview, how to write a letter of appointment, how to write a contract, how to do bill of quantities, how to project manage, how to do a schedule. These are things that are not taught. But I just give them an overview that, design is not just doing drawing, come up with the concept, sell the idea. After that, the work starts, right? You have to commit the client to paying you. How then do you do a tender? How do you do send it out? How do you collect money? How do you project manage? All of these things, schools unfortunately don't have enough time to teach. They already got their hands full teaching all that designers need to know. Right? So I think I do my best. Even this podcast is something like, my doing my part for the industry. Passion and sharing. Right? Some people are passionate for themselves. I'm a little bit more family. We are all family.
Okay, so Raj, what do you think is the responsibility of senior practitioners for shaping the next sunrise of talents and what should be expected of the next generation of designers?
Okay, very simple. You acquire knowledge through education, through experience, and through sharing, right? So all of us will go through that. First, we are taught by our educators. Then we are taught by our bosses or colleagues in the working environment. And the easiest way to remember something or to learn something in our old days, they used to tell us, the more you share, the more you will remember. Right? So all of us will have to do that. So as a senior, this is what I do. I've learned something. I've gained some experience and I continue to share. So the younger generation will also need to learn how to do this. It's a continuous process. What you learn will be different. Your experiences will be different. Your sharing style will be different. In the old days, you only met face to face and talked to people over a copy or something like that. Now you're doing a blog. You do videos, you do TikTok. That would be their way of sharing. But the more knowledge you share, the more knowledge you also gain because you learn. Right? So I would suggest to and recommend to younger designers is that, and I always tell people, I have not stopped learning. And I will never stop learning. Every single day I learn something new. Every time I go to a site, a carpenter will teach me something new. The lighting guy will teach me something new. The sprinkler guy will teach me something new. Because why? Although it's been done 1,000 times, that guy has a slightly different way of doing things. And you learn why this cannot fit this way and why did I, make this carpentry this way and why, I affix things like that. And you learn. Then next time, and you can always suggest to the next carpenter, hey, last time the carpenter do like this, can you do the same? It will save you time and money. Maybe, maybe not. But share and learn. Only two things. Learn, share, learn, share,
And
learn.
continue learning and sharing. One thing I learned is my carpenters, every single project, right, as they go on, right, it gets tougher and tougher for them. Hey, boss, this project is very difficult. Every project say the same thing. Problematic lah. So you have to go and teach them something also.
No, but they say every, like, I don't know, I heard this somewhere that actually every project that we design and finish should not be perfect in our eyes because we'll always have that, actually this could have been done better this way, this could have been done differently. Yeah, then from there we learn so that the next project we can incorporate all these changes.
Very true. Very true. There is, in this universe, in this, life, there's no perfection.
No, not at all.
Everything is an imperfection to a certain level. So the perfection is in its imperfections, right? Let it be. But of course, one of the things that I was very, and this was something that was, I still remember. I used to be afraid to put pen on paper and draw things. And when I first went to the US, I was drawing things at this scale. HDB house, sort of like that, right? Then my architect lecturer would say, Raj, everybody is drawing it to this scale. Why are you drawing to this scale? Why is it so small? Start drawing it bigger, right? And then sometimes I will be just thinking and not willing to put down. He says, design is not about thinking and then deciding what to put. Design is about thinking, putting it down, erasing it, putting it down, tracing it over, putting it down. If you don't put down something on paper, I can't grade you. So if you can be thinking all you want and it could be brilliant ideas, but if it is not on paper, I can't grade you.
And that's the thing, right?
So start putting it on paper quickly.
If you don't erase,
that's what I learned.
If you don't erase anything, means you're not developing any of your design at all.
That's where it is. Right. It is not perfection, right? You have to put it down, see how it looks. If it doesn't work, erase it, In the olden days for tracing paper, one layer over another layer, and you develop the thing. And the final is within the time that you're given, that's the final. After that, you can improve. I have students from Raffles who come and, show me their portfolio, right? Because some of it is, I do a portfolio review before they actually do their portfolio. They come for interviews, so I do a mock interview, so I teach them. And I look at a lot of this and I will tell them, okay, this is your first project. And I see all this growth to your last project or second last project. Now that I've explained to you what else to look out for, can you, after you've graduated or whenever you have time, go back to the first project and come back with a fresh set of eyes and improve this project? Then you show your client or your potential employer, my first year, after I learned everything, how this project could have been much better. So it's an improvement on your first project, right? Or your second project or third project. I said, look, there's a lot of things. Now, can you look at it this way? Can you look at it this way? Can you look at it this way? You forgot to think about this. But the project is done. No, don't worry. Come back and see. There's one guy is a China guy, a young adult, I would say. He came for the interview. He showed me his things. And you know how he's an artist. He does all his perspective by hand. And then he translates it into 3D. So he use AI to get it to, whatever. And then he did something, and his father is a feng shui master. But he cannot practice feng shui. So I tell him, never mind. You don't practice. Your dad, doesn't like it, don't practice. But you have some understanding of what feng shui is. So now that you've done this pop-up store in the middle of the mall somewhere, this direction, you've taken certain criteria and you've placed opaque walls in a certain area and openings in certain areas of this little space. With your understanding of feng shui, try and see whether you come up with the same idea. Right? Maybe where you have the opening is facing the toilet, but it's nice, that is the more appropriate one, but it's facing the toilet and the chi is bad. So maybe that needs to be more opaque or semi-transparent, and some other area needs to open up. Try and see, do a comparison, do a study. This is your thesis. Go and study and see whether it helps and see whether the result comes out. So sometimes you will realize that you can improve. Sometimes you will come to a conclusion that it doesn't improve, but it's worth the effort.
But that's the good thing, right? Like you mentioned showing your first year project and then what you learn and what can you change. It actually erases a lot of doubt from the mind of your potential employer or even your client. I mean, I wouldn't show it to my client, but if they actually do, you show that you remove a lot of doubt. Like it answers a lot of questions, hidden questions that we can't actually put to words.
Correct.
Like this person is capable of thinking and going beyond basic things, for example.
Me, Hendra, we are all friends and all that, right? And they employ people. And when people engage somebody, they are looking for attitude more than anything. More than talent, more than skills, more than everything, they're looking at attitude. If you cannot be trained and you are not willing to learn, then sorry, this job is not for you. Right? So the interior design field is the same way. If you graduate and you think that you are a designer, I go back to, again, my 75-year-old instructor in US who could look at anything and just sketch things and make it look realistic. I still don't believe how he could do that. Just pencil and paper, right? And he would say, guys, your degree is only the first foot in the door. Your actual education and training starts from the first job that you are able to land. They will have to train you and they will have to teach you. We teach you, and you take a degree or a diploma and all this, for what? Because if you are trained as a designer, a design company can hire you. If you're trained as an accountant company will hire you. If you're trained as a lawyer, they can hire you as a paralegal. I'm not going to go and to the law school and say, hey, law school graduates, come and join my ID company. Because they don't know. You are only graduating with the skill set that allows you to be employed by a design company. Then your training starts. I have interns who sometimes would complain, all they get me to do a whole day is, ask me to do nothing and I don't do any design, I don't do anything.
Toilet alignment.
So whatever it is, and what I told them was, look, I'll give you 2 points, very important points. My personal experience when I was doing internship for my architect lecturers, they were all practicing architects, by the way. In the US, all of them teaching, full-time teaching and full-time employment as well. Right? They have team, My first internship, they put me on a job site. I went there all dressed up. He says, tomorrow bring a t-shirt and shorts. Drop me at the job site at 9:30 in the morning. I'll reach at 9, right? So 9:30 at the job site. Pick me up at 4:30, come back to the office, 5 o'clock, go. For 3 months, I was on a job site where he was building a bungalow. I was scraping plaster. I was looking for defects. I was looking at how they built the toilets with waterproof gypsum board. I was looking at how they were excavating for the pool. I was looking at how they rough in all the plumbing and electrical for the kitchen. I was looking at how they measured for the joinery, and then they will come in with the joinery and all that. And that was something nobody can teach you.
Yes.
All right. So I said, look, was my instructor wrong in giving me internship like that? The second time I went back for internship at his place, I was working in his office. Then you're right. In the toilet area, over the top, was all these pigeonholes with their drawings. That time ammonia drawings.
All right.
So he asked me to reorganize all the drawings. I could have just taken out all of it, clean up, and then just put back. But what did I do? I took them out. I opened them up. I look at it. I say, hey, okay, this is how they arrange the drawings. This is how they do title blocks. Okay, this is how they develop the design. Then when I have a chance and they are free, I would go to them and say, can you tell me why you did it this way? So the knowledge was there. The book was there. If you don't open the book and just put it back on the library shelf, I could have done that. But I did. And what did I gain out of that? I gained a lot of understanding of how things are done. And the last point that I also told these people is, look, if tomorrow you are hired as an intern, you do something wrong, and the client has to answer either a lawsuit or lose the project or hear a earful from the client, who's going to pay for it?
Boss.
Can they take a chance on you as an intern? Right? Are you that developed for them to be able to take that chance? You'll be part of a team. But they cannot give you a set of drawings and just say, oh, do the space planning, come up with the design and all that. It doesn't work like that in the real world.
That's right.
So take it with a grain of salt. Whatever they ask you to do and learn. All right? Be a sponge. Absorb as much as possible.
That's one thing I have in common with you. Internship, we go to the construction site. Same thing. Boy, please wear a t-shirt tomorrow and don't need to be too early. You have to wait for the drivers. When they're available, they'll come and pick you and send you to site. Where I carry acoustic panels. I help them hold the cloth together, help them cut the wood. It was amazing. It was amazing. In fact, I was part of the Scott Square project during my internship. We were doing the aluminium ceilings. Beautiful experience. And that's where I learned how to do detailed drawings.
Exactly.
We ask, hey, how many mm is this?
I think leading into the next question, this is what I would say. For the next generation of designers, you have all the tools, but tools also need upgrading, right? What you're weak in is, if AI is able to develop all sorts of sketches and everything, what about the details? Right? AI doesn't come up with details for you. Right? Detail is something that you have to decide how things go together, how you want it to look, how you want it to feel. Detailing is very important. So one thing that's lacking in the new batch of students is specifically the ability to visualize and understand details, because they probably don't even go through books that have details, right? And understand why, and they don't have enough exposure going to site. So as students, I wouldn't say, sorry, but as an intern, if you get a chance to go to the site, please go to the site. Then you will look at the drawing, this is the detail. You'll see the carpenter come back with that detail.
Yes.
And you will understand that this transforms to this. And if I change this, how will it transform? That understanding is very important. So that is one. But of course, forward thinking, learn AI, learn whatever new tools you have, right? I only know AutoCAD and, the basics, right? But if you tell me Photoshop and all this kind of thing, those were not taught in our days.
Yeah.
I picked up my drafting skills on the computer when I started working for Alan Crandon.
Right.
Because it wasn't taught in schools. In University of Florida, only 2 people did their work on computers. They had to feed in the information at night. The next morning, they will get a wireframe.
Ooh.
And you know how big the AutoCAD room was? This size. And you sat at one console and you key in things. Next morning, it will spit out the wireframe of your perspectives. That is how slow it was. Then with the wireframe, you put tracing and then you trace over, then you go for printing and then you color it. Okay? But at least it gave you perspective, right?
Yeah.
Where everybody else was doing by hand. So that was 1989 when I graduated. That was the technology. Now everything can. So when I came back to Singapore, we were doing everything by hand. My Caterpillar project, the 60,000 square feet floor plan was all by hand. Tender drawings, I was doing 14 elevations a day by hand.
Oh my.
Draw, just draw. Right? Then I told my boss, no, we have to move with the times. Let's get a CAD. So we investigated and AutoCAD was a little bit cumbersome. I, moved on to a program called Drawbase.
Drawbase.
Right? It's, and that time it was more of a digitizer and a DOS system. Right? So you pick, all the pull down menu is actually on the tablet. The big tablet, like this big tablet, like a size of this. And then you kind of pick, and then there was a central area for you to draw. And that would appear on the screen. Then when it went to Windows, AutoCAD and Drawbase became quite a similar. Turn on layers, turn off layers, do this. But again, it was a challenge, right? For me, I already graduated with a degree, come back, work here, doing everything by hand. Now learning how to draft on computer. But why did it help me? Because every alteration and modification then on from Caterpillar, imagine I started Caterpillar in 1993, 94, up to 2016. Don't tell me they didn't have any changes. The second building was all drafted on computer. The first building was all by hand. So learn, all right? Upskill, our government's motto, right? Upskill, skills future, use your credit, go and do things. But never stop learning, right? Even if it's just reading books. I think reading books and reading design books is also important to broaden your horizon. And travel. And travel to other countries.
Learning about
we used to, even from the US, we used to have trips to Atlanta, Chicago, and all this on this study trips where we get to meet architects and big firms and all that, but we get to learn new things. You cannot be in a cocoon. Singaporeans, I think, need to travel, work overseas, and experience what life is like outside and bring back the experience. We complain a lot of times about foreign talent coming in and they are competing with us and people are hiring them. Why? Because they are all these people, all the fintech people, all the finance people, they're all experienced in working in banks in the US and Europe and all that. And when they come back and you say, oh, I've been working in Singapore only, who would you choose? I would choose somebody who has experience in the worldwide, right? Right?
So we are making ourselves irrelevant.
Correct.
By not
and so
opening
that is one of the reasons why, while we have national service, part of our education should also be overseas attachment for 1 year. Go and learn something overseas. And that will also build friendships. That will be also, you can offer a job. Instead of people coming to Singapore to find job, you will go to China, you will go to Vietnam, you will go to other countries where people can employ you. Right? You'll be more valuable.
Okay, so before we wrap up the episode, are there any messages you would like to address to anybody who are interested in pursuing interior design as a profession?
I told my two daughters, both of them are ID.
Both of them
Right.
are.
Yeah, both of them are both my daughters. And when they were going through Temasek, Poly, and open house, I showed them all other careers except ID. Right? But they still put ID as the first choice. And I told them, please don't go into ID. Why? It doesn't make money. You will only survive in the ID industry if you have passion for it. But passion doesn't mean that you have crazy passion. Just, people can be very passionate, over attached. It has to be a wholesome level of, passion, hard work, and a lot of it is luck. Right? Getting certain projects and losing certain projects and all of that. It's a little bit of karma, a little bit of luck, a little bit of effort. Sometimes being at the right place at the right time, meeting the right people. I have networked. I'm the networking champion. Basically, I just threw away so many business cards and I cleared the office, right? I collected over the years. And I do keep in touch with people and all that, but it still doesn't say that don't stop networking, right? Stop networking. Still network. You never know when one day, one person somewhere you met will reach out to you and say, Raj, let's work together or come do my project for me. Right? At worst case is what? You got to know somebody. When you go networking, I see a lot of people, same company, all stick together, drink, eat, go home. That's not networking. All right. When my daughter's company also, when her colleagues are there, and my daughter is there, what I do? I get them to move around and I say, come, you want me to help you introduce? This is this people, this is this one, this one, this one, this one. Okay, come. And that's one thing I think I want to teach youngsters. Be very forthcoming, be honest, go up to somebody, shake hands, introduce yourself, talk about something that you have in common. If you don't, it's okay. Get to know people. Don't stay in your bubble. You have to go out.
Do you think that this is a hard skill that can really be taught to someone?
It can. Because surprisingly, I was an introvert before I went to the US. I was a homebody, mama's boy. Okay?
But you're in a different environment because it's unfamiliar to you. You got to survive on your own.
Different upbringing. Because at home here, my dad, my mom did everything for us, and we did our own things. Of course, we were independent. Mom didn't have to pick up after us. When I went to the US, I had to drive myself. I had to go and get my driving license myself. I had to apply for schools myself. Everything. My uncle and aunt were there. I was staying with them, but they were not going to handhold. And American style is different, right? Everything when you were thrown in the ocean, you learn to swim, right? And that's where then I changed. I say, hey, it's not that bad. I can keep to myself when I want to. But when I'm in an environment where there are a lot of people, I should be comfortable to just go out there and, hey, hi, I'm Raj. I'm so and so. Oh, okay, what do you do? Ask questions and get to know people, right? So I was an introvert. If you see me now and before, totally different. That was the catalyst, going overseas. So I think that's important.
Thank you, Raj. I think the new generation is very well taken care of in your hands, and I think we have a very.
If anybody is open to come have a chat with me, you always ring me up for teh tarik and we can.
Yeah, I'm very hopeful personally that we have seniors like you who care about us and also want to pass down the correct values. And you also see the gap of what education doesn't touch on and the practicality of being able to survive in this industry. And sometimes it cannot be put into words or books. You have to go and experience it for yourself. So thank you so much, Raj, for joining us for this week's episode of Behind the Build. And we hope to have you again on another one of our episodes in the future.
Sure. Most welcome. I'll be happy to.
Yes. So if you like what we have done today, please give us a like, share, follow. We will leave Raj's details also in the description, and you can follow him on LinkedIn. Reach out to him for teh tarik and kopi.
Yeah, but you all will pay for the teh tarik.
No, it's okay. I'm always, teh tarik is no big deal.
Special note, 3 p.m. samosa. Right? Thank you, Raj.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for coming.
Thanks, Peter.
Thank you.
Thank you.